The city of Valencia, Spain, experienced one of the most intense extreme weather episodes in its modern history. Torrential rain fell nonstop for over 36 hours, accompanied by strong winds reaching speeds of over 75 kilometers per hour, transforming the normally tranquil urban landscape into a stormy terrain filled with floodwaters, debris, and uncertainty. This event not only shook the city's infrastructure but also raised collective awareness of the growing vulnerability of urban systems to climate change. The weather phenomenon that struck Valencia in early September was not a tropical storm or major cyclone, as is typical in the Atlantic, but rather the result of a complex interaction between a cold air mass from the northwest and high humidity accumulating over the Mediterranean Sea. A low-pressure system formed over the Iberian Peninsula, creating unstable atmospheric conditions, triggering the formation of dense, water-laden convective clouds. Consequently, heavy rainfall fell, with amounts reaching over 200 liters per square meter in some districts such as Chiva, Torrent, and Alzira. The strong winds accompanying the rain stemmed from the extreme pressure difference between land and sea, creating gusts that not only knocked down trees but also damaged roofs, billboards, and power lines. In downtown Valencia, daily life came to a screeching halt. Main streets like Avenida del Puerto, Gran via Marqués del Turia, and Calle Colón turned into impromptu rivers, with vehicles trapped in the raging waters. The city's aging drainage system was unable to cope with the volume of water, causing widespread flooding that extended into office areas and shopping malls. In the Ruzafa district, water entered the ground floors of apartment buildings, forcing residents to evacuate to upper floors or seek shelter in community centers opened on an emergency basis by the city government. Valencia Airport, normally a major gateway for tourists and business travelers, experienced significant operational disruptions. More than 20 domestic and international flights were delayed or diverted to other airports due to poor visibility and crosswinds that made landings hazardous. At the port, import and export activities were temporarily suspended due to waves reaching 4 meters, forcing ships to remain anchored and wait for conditions to improve. In rural areas surrounding Valencia, such as Requena, Bunal, and Zataiva, the impact of the rain and wind was felt more severely. Newly planted grape and citrus crops were damaged by floodwaters and landslides. Farmers reported significant losses, as crops that were supposed to be harvested next month were destroyed overnight. Several hillside houses collapsed due to foundations being washed away, and road access to remote villages was completely cut off after small bridges were swept away by the current. The Valencian city government immediately activated its hydrometeorological emergency protocol, deploying firefighters, local police, and volunteers to assist with evacuations, clearing waterways, and distributing relief supplies. The mayor of Valencia, Maria Jose Catala, stated in a press conference that the top priorities were the safety of residents and the restoration of vital infrastructure. She also emphasized the importance of investing in modern drainage systems and technology-based early warning systems to address the increasingly frequent extreme weather events. On social media, the hashtag Temporal Valencia 2025 became a national trending topic. Residents shared videos and photos depicting chaos in the streets, water entering homes, and winds shaking apartment balconies. Among the posts were also stories of emotion and solidarity. A young man named Javier, from the Benimaclet district, shared his story of rescuing an elderly man trapped in a sinking car. "I didn't think twice. I just knew I had to pull the door and get her out," he wrote in a post that went viral and garnered thousands of likes. Climatologists from the University of Valencia and the Spanish Meteorological Agency, EMET, stated that this event reflects the ongoing changes in climate patterns in the Mediterranean region. Warming of the sea surface, increased atmospheric humidity, and changes in global wind direction have created conditions that are more susceptible to intense local storms. Dr. Marta Llorente, a senior researcher in regional climate, explained that Valencia is now in a climate transition zone, where spring and autumn are no longer as stable as they once were. We must prepare for more events like this, not just floods, but also extreme winds, heat waves, and droughts that come and go, she said in an interview with the daily newspaper El País. From a systemic perspective, this event opens up a space for deep reflection on urban governance, spatial planning, and community resilience to hydrometeorological disasters. Valencia, like many European cities, was built on the assumption of a stable climate. However, that assumption is now crumbling in the face of a new reality characterized by increasing uncertainty and intensity. Drainage systems designed for light rain are unable to cope with extreme rainfall. Old, wind-resistant buildings are becoming vulnerable, and communities unfamiliar with rapid evacuation face significant psychological and logistical challenges. In policy terms, local and national governments are considering revisions to construction standards, early warning systems, and disaster education. Some proposals put forward include the construction of rainwater catchment reservoirs on the outskirts of cities, the use of AI-based weather sensors for local forecasting, and regular training for residents on evacuation and first aid procedures. At the European level, the event also became a topic of discussion in regional climate forums, focusing on urban adaptation to extreme weather. For Valencians, these 2 days of storms were not just about physical damage, but also about profound emotional experiences. Fear, uncertainty, and loss became part of a collective narrative that will linger for a long time. However, beneath all this, a spirit of solidarity, resilience, and hope emerged. Residents helped each other, local communities mobilized quickly, and voices for change began to grow louder. The torrential rain and winds of early September 2025 in Valencia served as a reminder that modern cities, no matter how robust their infrastructure, remain vulnerable to the forces of nature. This is a call to build not just stronger walls, but also wiser systems, more resilient communities, and more forward-thinking policies. Valencia may have been wet and shaken, but from the inundation, a new awareness has emerged about the importance of living alongside nature, not against it.